Hmm. So drafting skills are not just limited to the courts, and it also applies to all the other paralegal and all other work, that is for agreement drafting, for contracts, for one second. Yeah. So that's why drafting is very important for a lawyer's career. And we are going to discuss that what are the various types of documents which we have to draft as a law student and as a lawyer. So firstly, we we broadly classify drafting. Basically, I'm sure that you all have followed that posts and which we have made that, and you must have read that what are the types of drafting. But it is not just limited to that. It is much more than that, and we would be discussing that how basically that is classified. So, firstly, in drafting, there's pleadings. So basically, the module which we study in our law schools is somehow it is named like this, that drafting, conveyance, and pleadings. So what is the basic terminology? Why this terminology? Basically, we need to understand that. So first of all, the first terminology which we understand is the pleadings. So what is pleadings? Pleadings derives from the word to plead. Okay, so to plead means to argue or to urge the court to give a favorable order in your favor or your client's favor. So that is to plead before the court of law. So that is why it is known as pleadings. So necessarily, whenever a document is placed before a court, only then it is known as pleadings. So that this much is clear. Another thing which comes up when, as far as we talk about the legal documents which are drafted, is conveyance. So what is conveyance? Conveyance basically derives from the word to convey, and to convey means to just communicate your intentions from yourself to the other party. So that is conveyance. And once you convey your intentions, your interests, your rights, your liabilities, or anything to the other person, then it is known as conveyance. And the moment we write it in a document form, it is a conveyance deed or conveyance. A conveyance basically carries a long spectrum of documents, and which includes the deeds, the sale and purchase agreements, the contracts, bills, and many other documents. And we would be reading each and every document in the future lectures, one by one. So these are the basic two forms, that is pleadings and conveyance. Now we will discuss the what are the various types in pleadings basically. So basically, pleadings is can be categorized in three forms, but you cannot make a just a pigeonhole theory that these are the only possible documents. There are a host of documents which which you keep on learning all through your career. So broadly classified, you can say that first one being criminal petitions or criminal drafting, that is in the part of pleadings. So in criminal pleadings, there are various things. Firstly, there are criminal complaints, which I've already discussed with a few of you, and that is 156 clause 3, in which a magistrate complaint is entertained under the CRPC provision for ordering a FIR by the magistrate. So that comes under 156 clause 3, and that is, yeah, and that is for one kind of criminal pleading. Then we also have appeals in criminal law. If somebody is not allowed their interests, then they have a right to appeal. This is not an inherent right, although you will study this in the statutory laws, in the substantive laws. But as far as far as the basic norm is concerned, there are various documents. Firstly, being the complaints, then there are appeals, there are reviews, there are some other documents like amendment application, and there are many memorandums which are filed between the when a particular proceeding starts. There are various stages, and all through those stages there are various documents which are filed, and we will discuss few of them in our future course of time. Then we have the other kind of pleading, that is civil pleadings. And what are civil pleadings? Basically, civil pleadings we call plaints or suits. So suits are the major section of pleadings in criminal in civil side. Then in civil we also have something of very huge importance, and that is injunction suits. Injunctions are something which are granted on a daily basis by various in all levels of courts. So injunction, what is injunction? Basically injunction is for grant of stays and other such orders. So basically the court orders the other party to restrain or to do something, and that is as injunction order. And there are similarly other system, as I already told in criminal proceedings, that there are various applications and memorandums which are filed all through the proceedings. And similarly, it so happens in civil side as well. Then a unique kind of drafting which we do not do in generally in criminal and civil, and that is PILs. We entertain environmental PILs. We have PILs. We have writs. We have some other kind of court documents, and that those are basically the niche areas of drafting. And when we talk about niche areas of drafting, we do not delve into the criminal or civil side. Niche covers everything. When we talk about a particular niche area of drafting, let's say we talk about taxation. So under taxation, we have generally we have criminal side of taxation, but when we draft for anything for taxation, we do not exactly categorize it into criminal or civil or writs or anything else. When we talk about taxation, we do everything, and that is a niche kind of a drafting, and that differs from any other type of drafting. So that is why niche areas of drafting needs to be developed, and that is something basically Draft Panacea focuses on. So this is the broad categorization of the pleadings. Now we'll move to conveyancing. And what is conveyancing? I've already told. And what are the types of conveyancing? So conveyancing basically is the conveyance of the interest from one party to the other. Or so in conveyance, we talk about wills. So what is a will? Will is basically a person who is deciding in his lifetime that what happens to my property when I die. So the declaration of such an interest when the person is alive is known as will. And we have we also get into the when we talk about wills, we also go into courts for getting a probate, but probate is something different and we will understand it afterwards. But as far as the conveyance is concerned, that is wills, because wills never go to court unless and until you need a probate. So that is the will. And the other thing which there are many other documents in conveyancing, and that is agreements. Agreements is a very huge portion of conveyance, and on a daily basis you already have understood in the law of contracts that agreements may be oral, agreements may be implied, agreements may be express. So whenever an express contract is made or an agreement is made in a written form, that comes under conveyancing part. So we formulate agreements and contracts on a daily basis, and this is not limited to individuals or companies. It happens in all levels of administration, and everybody does that. So agreements and contracts is something which is a very huge part of conveyance. In conveyancing there are other things as well. So basically we when we talk about conveyancing, we have to focus upon this idea that whenever an interest is communicated from one party to another and not directly to the court, then it is known as conveyancing. So this much is clear, and you have also understand that there's another categorization which we call as niche areas of drafting. So these are the broad types of drafting. Now when the types of drafting is over, I would like to focus upon that what is the importance of vernacular language in drafting. Acha, first of all, before going into vernacular language, I would like to know that if you guys have any questions regarding the types of drafting and why drafting is necessary. Any questions? Okay, I assume there's no question, and that's wonderful if you do not have any questions. So let's move on. And we are going to talk about that why vernacular language is important. So what is vernacular language for that matter? Vernacular language does not mean that if I know Hindi, that is the vernacular language. No, basically it is about the language of the court. And whenever you, and that is why we say that when a particular draft is made in a particular state, that state jurisdiction knowledge is important. So that complicates drafting a little bit. that, am I audible? So, so, so we talked about the vernacular, the importance of vernacular language when we talk about the drafting. So and we also talked about that what is the language of the court. So basically the language of the court, one thing is sure that English is the language of the court, but there's also the regional languages which are practiced in each and every jurisdiction, in each and every state. There are various languages which are spoken all through the nation, and those languages are the language of the court whenever there is a specific jurisdiction. Let's say in Bengal, the language of the court may be Bengali and English. So English stands paramount. English should be there and is there. And the second language which generally is preferred by the court is the language of the court, that is the regional language of that particular state. So that is the language of the court. Now, what is the need for you to learn that language of the court? So what if I do not know the language of court? That's not a big deal if you know English. Because English is the harmonious language which is used everywhere all through the nation. So if you know English, that is not a big deal. You can tackle with it. But what if you do not know a regional language and still you have to practice in the district court? That might be some kind of an issue. So that's why it is important that you must know the language of the court. So why basically why do you need to know that language of the court? Even if let's say the judge would understand the English, right? So what is the need of knowing the language? The need is for the clients, for the other side, because you do not have that responsibility only towards your client or the judge, because you need to also make things clear to the other side, because you cannot take away the rights of the, because this actually strikes upon the natural rights of the party who is up on the opposite side. Because if that person cannot understand that what is being submitted against him or her, that right is being taken away. So in order to make that person understand, it is very important that that particular language has to be communicated. So that is why we need to know the language of the court. Moreover, the basic documents, that is in case of criminal complaints, the parties generally come up with an application which is filed before the police station, and it is generally in a regional language, and you need to know that regional language. Because even if you are translating it in some other language, if there are some kind of latches or some kind of error in that translation, you'll have to understand that what was the original text which was written in a vernacular language. So that's why it is important that you understand that what is the language of the court. So is this part clear? Is there any question regarding this? Okay, you may use the chat box if you want to. If you want to ask any questions, please use the chat box, and please try to be interactive, because I do not want to make this a monologue. So this much being clear, I also wanted to give us very short workshop kind of for using that, how to use SCC and Manupatra, and what to do when you do not have any such legal database or resource. So 1 second, please. Before getting into the practically that how to research on Manupatra or SCC and what are the tools which are available to you for drafting and for basically for research, let's actually understand what are the resources that are useful for legal research, and why do we need to do legal research? What is the purpose of legal research? So legal research is not just for for drafting, although for drafting this is something which cannot be dispensed with, but there are legal research for various other aspects as well. Because whenever you write an article, or even if you study, you need to do some kind of case law research, because that is important to understand that what are the legal holdings of the case in a particular time scan. Because if let's say the, because 377 was there in IPC, right? So what if if you do not know that the recent case law has changed that scenario, you cannot understand the law fully. So in order to do that, you need to have a look on the case laws, on the various other aspects of laws which are available on legal database only. So and that is not just possible for following some law news or live law or bar and bench or anything of that sort, because that is just a news and you do not actually know the legal backing of that particular statute or that particular change which has been brought about by the court. So in order to understand that, you need to have that look into the original text of the document. So that is the basic purpose. And we also need, for as far as the drafting is concerned, for legal research, legal research legal research is important in drafting, because we have to understand that what are the laws applicable to a particular fact scenario. If I tell you that these are my facts and I need to do something about these facts, and I just want a order from the court against this particular person, so court do not grant it just because you have said so. So court needs some legal backing for that, and for that legal backing you need to have some case law research or some other research that is found only on a legal database. Although we would be discussing that what if you do not have a premium legal database, where to look upon. So I'll tell you that what are the sources available. And firstly, there are some general sources, then there are some specific sources. What are the general sources? General sources are not pertaining to just law, and you may find any other thing which is available, but it is also very useful if it comes to legal research as well. So I'll just share my screen to show a few of them, that what are the most used legal research databases. Sure. Okay. So is my screen visible?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay. So we have taken one particular fact scenario, then because we need some proposition, right, to understand that what do we need to search. So in order to understand what we would be searching here, I'm just sending this particular proposition to you guys so that you can have a look upon that what we are doing. We'll have a sample research proposition, and that is, I'll just share. So this is the proposition that we are going to search, and that is, a secured debt like outstanding loans will have priority over any other dues like excise and taxes which are unsecured. What does this proposition basically mean? Please, anyone of you, can you explain that what does this proposition mean? What are we expected to search? Sadaf? Hello, Sadaf? You can also type on the chat box if you want to, or you can also
please repeat
the
question. Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, can you read the proposition which have that we are going to search in the chat box? A secured debt like outstanding loans will have priority over any other dues like excise and taxes which are unsecured. You just need to explain that what do we need to search in this? What do you mean by this particular proposition? Firstly, we need to understand what do we mean by this proposition, then only we can understand that what we need to search. Others can also try. Ajitesh, if you want to just explain that what does this proposition mean, or Sneha.
Okay, so basically यहाँ पे एक्चुअली में इसका कहने का मतलब ये है that secure debts are जो outstanding loans होते हैं ना, उनके ऊपर प्रायोरिटी है. अदर ड्यूज जो है, एक्साइज, ये सारी जो ड्यूज है ना, ये सारे सिक्योर डेब्ट्स हैं. इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, ये सारे सिक्योर डेब्ट्स हैं क्योंकि आपके अगर किसी का आउटस्टैंडिंग लोन है या किसी का कोई एक्साइज है टैक्स है, तो दैट इज अ सिक्योर डेब्ट, क्योंकि वो आना ही है.
Okay.
दिस इज जो
Yeah, it's okay. Basically, you exactly understood what needed not to be understood. So, यहाँ पर the question, this proposition particularly means that there are two kinds of debts. Firstly, you need to understand, because see, this is law, and whenever we are going to do legal research, your sound knowledge of law has to be there. So, firstly, we need to understand that there are debts. This proposition talks about debts, and as far as we talk about debts, there are two kinds of debts. You must have understood and read in the contract laws. And under debts, there are two kinds of debts, that are secured and unsecured. Secured debts are such debts which has some kind of collateral on that. If I have taken a loan and I have not given any kind of a security or some collateral against that, that is an unsecured debt, right? And if there's some other kind of a debt, that is might be I have taken some loan, or basically I have just mortgaged my property. So mortgage is a example of a secured debt, because there's some collateral which would be lapsed if I do not pay that money back, right? So that is secured debt, and the other one where there's no collateral is unsecured debt. So this particular proposition talks about secured and unsecured debts. Now, we are going to discuss, basically we need to search some case laws on this particular proposition. And the proposition is a secured debt like outstanding loans. So we are assuming that this loan has some collateral against that particular amount, have priority over any other dues. Now we are talking that such a secured debt which has some collateral against it has a priority over other dues like government taxes. Excise and all are taken by government. So those are government taxes. So we are going to search that, is there any case law available, right, at this point of time? Is there any case law which supports this proposition that a secured debt like something which has a collateral on it would have a prior claim or priority over a unsecured debt? So how do we search it? First point is, you need to make sure that you understand the keywords of a particular proposition. So what are the keywords in this particular proposition? The first keyword, as I understand, is debt, right? Second keyword, as I understand, is secured. Another may be unsecured. One more keyword, if I take, might be collateral. So these are some kind of relevant keywords. So whenever you get a proposition, the first step would be to identify the relevant keywords in that particular proposition. So these are the relevant keywords, and this is not something which I tell you and you know, but this is something you need to acquire with your experience, with your knowledge. When you study law, you understand the surrounding laws which govern that particular proposition or that particular law. So you need to understand that what are the relevant things which might come in while discussing a particular proposition, and you will have to predict them rightly. And if you do so well, then you would be able to make out a very good case law research. Now, I was also going to talk about that what are the free and general data resource. So Google being the first resource, Google, this is very funny that I'm talking about a Google search, but it's true that whenever we talk about any kind of research, and specifically the legal research, Google is the first preference that you should give. Firstly, you should try to do some kind of preliminary research in Google, and then we will shift to some other refined versions of legal research databases. So let's search. Okay, so firstly, we got a link from Investopedia that talks about unsecured and secured debts. So why do we do a Google research basically? the purpose of a Google research is to know more about the topic. So in case you did not know that what are the basic points which you might have to consider in this particular research, you will get a fair idea once you do a Google research. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. As the link is already recurring. This is a recurrent meeting. You can just click on the link again if the meeting lapses. So firstly, we need to do a Google research so that we get to know that what are the keywords which might be important in my particular proposition. So when you do a Google research, you'll understand that what are the basic keywords which might come in this particular proposition that we are going to deal with. So we get to know that what is a secured debt, what is an unsecured debt. You'll get a fair idea. It might also come, you might also come across some articles and some kind of a research paper which are available on Google itself. The most prominent sites from which you would get it, you might note it also. First is JSTOR. You'll get few articles from JSTOR. You'll get some articles from Heen Online. You'll get some other articles, and as far as if you want just from Google, then you can also try Google Scholar. Right. So Google Scholar is a specific portal created by Google which delves into just research. If you are going to research on something, you have to try Google Scholar first. So Google, a simple Google search is for getting to know the keywords, but when you are knowing, when you are you have got a fair idea that what do you need to search, then you shift to Google Scholar. In Google Scholar, you can put in the same research, the same particular proposition or that particular keywords, and you can try to find that what do you find in the Google Scholar portal. So in Google Scholar, we get to see that there are certain articles. And most probably this is because this is a portal which provides articles. That's why you will find some articles. I already told that you will get some articles from JSTOR. So this is JSTOR. I told you that you will find some articles from Heen Online. This is Heen Online. You'll get some articles from Scholarly, and there are many articles. These are all law journals and some generic journals which are free and you can access them, right? So this is the free and general resource from where you can start your legal research. Then the second option you have as far as the free legal research is concerned. So those were the generic versions, the Google Scholar, Heen Online, JSTOR. These were some generic versions of legal research portals. Now we also have a free version, that is Indian Qanun. And Indian Qanun is a specific version for legal research, for case law researches. So let's try and see that what is Indian Qanun and how Indian Qanun portal works. And what do we need to do in Indian Qanun. So Indian Qanun has a simple portal like Google. You can do a Google search. Secured, unsecured, debt. Let's try to find something. So we got 3,300 results out of this. This is a huge number and you cannot go through this number in a day or even in a week. So what do we do in order to refine this data? In order to refine our data, we have certain mechanisms which we can adopt in Indian Qanun as well. In Indian Qanun, we can have first filter, that is according to, if you know that what do you need to search, if you know that you need to search a statutory position, the statute which applies to that particular proposition, it might be you need to know that, then you go for laws. If you need to know that what are the judgments, the case laws which has come up in this particular proposition dealing with these keywords, then you go for judgments, you filter it with judgments. And even if we go for arguing this particular matter, let's say this particular proposition is needed in a high court. And to be specific, let's talk about Delhi High Court. If we talk about Delhi High Court, then we cannot take a judgment from some other court, which is let's say Patna High Court. So you cannot, you can cite, but it would not hold that persuasive value, which would be held by a Delhi High Court judgment or a Supreme Court judgment. So that helps when we do a High Court search or a High Court and Supreme Court search. If we go for High Court and Supreme Court search, we get narrowed down with our results. So we now have only the High Court results and the Supreme Court cases. Now we can see that this is from Allahabad High Court, this is Patna High Court, Delhi High Court. Now I told you that if we are going to talk about Delhi High Court, we can see the only the cases which are from Delhi High Court and Supreme Court. This is a Supreme Court judgment, right? So we can try to search only those judgments and read only those judgments which are from Supreme Court or a Delhi High Court judgment, because we are going to appear with this proposition only at Delhi High Court. So the strategies you apply is always case specific and fact specific. So this is one mechanism you can filter your result with, that is according to forum. Another option, now you can also see that there are separate courts, Bombay High Court, Allahabad High Court. So if you are appearing, let's say on Bombay High Court, then you can search only the Bombay High Court judgments which deal with this particular keyword, these particular keywords. Okay. Similarly, there are years as well. If we know sometimes this happens that you know that some judgment has been passed in 2017, but you do not exactly know that what is the judgment. And in that case, you can have some keywords. You would all, if you know that the judgment have been passed in 2017, you must also know that what it pertains with. And if you know that, you can search the keywords, and then we can click 2017 or whatsoever the year which is relevant to you. And that way we can filter our results. But these are the filters which are already inbuilt. This is not something which you have worked upon. How do you work upon? How do you develop your skill? And what do you need to exactly know? And what is the purpose of this workshop for that matter? That purpose is fulfilled by advanced search. You can see this option of advanced search. We have to go into that. When we go in advanced search, there's these options which are available. Previously, we have already seen that the options we had was a mere Google search kind of an option, where you just put in some keywords and the results are shown. But now we have an advanced search, and we have a very detailed kind of an option that we can use for our legal research. Now, the first option is document and title or citation. Now, what is a document? The document is a whole document, which let's say there's a case, and that case comprises of title, it comprises of body, it comprises of judgment, it comprises of citation. There are various parts of a judgment, right? So the whole document is the document. If you want to search it in the whole document, you put in here. If you want to do only a title search, you can put in right here. You can also do a citation search. Now there are certain search tips which you can see. This is an open portal, so you do not need to worry about it. Now, if you go for a search tips, you can see that what are the various options which Indian Qanun offers you. The first is word and phrase search. In word and phrase search, it allows you to specifically narrow down your keyword, by using certain operators. So there are various operators when we do a legal research. And what are those operators? Those operators necessarily are and, not, or. These are the basic tools which we use for legal drafting. And how do we use it? So we use it like this. If we write secured and without any specific tool, we write unsecured as well. It will give some around, let's see how many results. Yeah, it gives us 3,911 results. Okay, let's try a tool. So see, basically if we search for anywhere, even any kind of search which is happening even on Google or any other portal, it is at the back of the search. The way that particular software or that mechanism works is based on operators, and these operators are the thing which determine your search results. So that's why you need to know that what is the purpose of a particular operator. And operator means that you need to search a document or a particular excerpt where both the keywords secured and unsecured has to be there. If you use and means both. The second is or. If we use or here, so what happens? So these are the results. The results I think slightly increased. So what happens in or? In or you will find the documents where either secured word is used or unsecured word is used. So the one eliminates the other. Whereas in and, both were there. So there is similarly other operators like not. In not, you can specify that which term, because sometimes it happens, let's say secured. So in secured, if it does not come in the terms of deaths, but in some other sense, you can eliminate that particular keyword. Okay. If you want to eliminate a particular keyword and we do not want to see those cases in which we are getting those results, we can eliminate those words by writing not. If we use not against a particular word, then that particular word would be eliminated. So we can see not operators here, right? So this the use of that particular that word, that how do we use and, because we know and is a and d, but Indian Kanun uses and operator as a and double d. So if we use and operator, we have to use a and double d. If we use or, we have to use orr. So similarly, this is the format for Indian Kanun in which we can narrow down our results using these operators. Is there anything which you did not understand about operators or Indian Kanun? Because we are now going to get refined by premium search, that is Manupatra and SCC. Hello?
This is fine.
Okay. So these are the free databases, that is Google Research and the Indian Kanun. These are the primary sources, the primary free databases where you can search for any kind of legal research. Now let's go into Manupatra. Manupatra and SCC are two leading sources which we use for our legal research. And obviously, since these are premium resources, we have to have a subscription for that. And hopefully I have a subscription. I'll just share this. Okay. So now we logged into this. How does this particular proposition that we were talking about work on Manupatra? Manupatra offers us, I'll just share the relevant things and not everything. So Manupatra search, Manu search is one of the options which would help us. Second option available is legal search. I'll delve into each one of them, that how do we use them. This is citation search. This is assisted search. I assume that only these four portals are important for us as far as legal research is concerned on Manupatra. What is Manu search? Manu search is a generic search where we can simply put in our case facts or anything which we want to search. Let's say this proposition is simply pasted here. If I search with this proposition, we'll go for search. Let's see how many results we get. Okay, so as you see that on Indian Kanun we used to get around 3000 results, whereas in Manupatra, which is a case specific portal, we get only 457 results. And this is interesting. That is why these paid subscriptions are important for our legal research. And only 457 case laws are reflected here, which pertains with our particular keywords, that is secured debt having priority over unsecured debt. Okay, so this is a very detailed kind of a search. We'll just narrow it down. We'll use some simplistic words like this: secured debt, priority. We do not need to use is and all of these simple. These words need not be taken care of. We can only put just the keywords which are important for us, which we just want in our document to be there. Secured debt, priority, unsecured. So these are certain keywords which are important here. Let's search these only. Okay. Now when we broadened it up, we saw that there are so many options, 4,107, 105 results. How do we narrow it down? That thing which we discussed in Indian Qanun is common here as well. We get Supreme Court cases and all other high court cases. We can narrow it down according to forums. We can narrow it down further on keywords if we want to see that we are going to talk only about assets or bank or bankruptcy, any keyword which is relevant to this particular proposition, we can find that particular proposition as well. So this is a narrow down by keyword. There are other narrowing down options, but we are not going to get into that as of now. I'll talk about what is assisted search. Yeah, so this is a very simple kind of Manupatra research where we get a similar option like that in Indian Qanun. In Indian Qanun, we had to memorize, we had to understand that that Indian Qanun uses only an operator and operator as A and D. But this is not the case in Manupatra. In Manupatra, you need not write and or not nothing. You just need to write your words, which you need to write, and you need to follow these instructions, all of these words. So it is implicit now that you have understood that what is an operator and how does it work. You have understood that if you write anything here, that would be covered under and operator. So we need secured, unsecured, debt, priority, this much. Any of these words. If we want any or kind of an option, then we find any of these options. Any of these I've already told that one option would eliminate the other if we use an or operator. So this is essentially an or operator, any of these words. If we write anything here, it would be treated as or. Exactly this phrase. This is something very useful in Manupatra. We sometimes know that what is the exact phrase which would be used in a particular case, but that option is not available everywhere. Although in Indian Qanun as well, that this option is available. If you put something in a double quotes or in a comma, not comma, basically in double quotes or brackets, these options are available in almost every database. If we use brackets or double quotes, those whole phrase, the phrase which is put in those double quotes or comma or brackets would be taken in as a phrase. So let's see. Secured debt have priority over unsecured debts. Let's see. Now there is other option, none of these words. I've already told that operator of now not. So not operator is taken care of in this particular tab. None of these words. You can eliminate those words which you do not want here. There is something which is very, very special about Manupatra and SCC as well, and that is these words and a proximity sensor. What is a proximity operator? This proximity operator is using the operator which is known as near, NEAR. We would be discussing this also in SCC, but in Manupatra, this near operator is also used. So near operator, what near operator does is we can take secured and unsecured, both the keywords, and we can fix a word limit. And if we say use secured, unsecured, these are the two words, and we have put in a limitation of priority proximity in 5 words. So what does this mean? This means that wherever in a particular document secured and unsecured, both the words would be used within the limit of 5 words, those documents would only be shown in our search. Let's see if any document comes up. No, we do not have any such documents. So we can eliminate this exact phrase, but we can see that what are the options we see. Yeah. So now we have narrowed it down to 2160 results. Even this is huge. We can narrow it down by some other, using some other words. Let's say, because we were talking about government, right? Government excise. We were talking about excise. We were talking about government or crown debts. Let's say crown debts. Crown debts is the word which is generally used for government debts. So we can use crown. Let's see. Okay. So when we used crown debts, which is a very specific and very relevant word, that narrows our result to 172 results. Now this can help us. This is something which is we can look into when we have these other options of narrowing it down by quotes or some other keywords. Now we will try to see this is one option that you can see. If you click on this arrow, you can just read a very brief idea that what this case covers and what is the thing which is dealt in this particular case. And if we see, then we can make out that if this case is relevant to our particular facts and case which we want to search. So this is basically how Manupatra search is done and how you can narrow it down in Manupatra. So this my intention was not this to take exact case and find out an exact case. I had just taken a proposition to show that how a particular case law research is done in a particular platform. So there's another option, legal search. Basically, Manu search and the assisted search is the option which you would be using most frequently for any kind of search. This is also an advanced level of search, that is legal search. In legal search, you need to know many facts. And I assume if you know these many facts, you already have the document, because you know the appellant and who is the respondent. You basically know the party name, you know the judge name, you know the, if you know some relevant keywords, you can put in case notes. If you know the subject, let's say this particular case may be related to banking. Subject, you can put in some other keywords which is relevant, let's say debts. So these are the these are the columns which you can fill in. And then if we search, this is also one option which is available in Manupatra, and this is very comprehensive and very useful if we want to have a particular if we know that what we need to search. We need to search a document, we need to search a case law, we need to search a digest, let's say, or anything of that sort. If we know that, then it is very useful to do this under this particular portal of legal search. There's another thing called Indian citation or citation search. Citation search is something which helps us to derive such case laws which we already have, of which we already have a citation. So you must have seen the citations of AIR, of SCC, of ILR, Indian Law Reporters, and there are many other law journals which report case laws on a daily basis. So if we already have some citation, I'll just try to show. Let's say KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Now this is a famous case law, you already know. Right. So let's see if we find any citation. No. In Indian Kanun, this is the demerit. In Indian Kanun, we do not find the citation. Okay, so we can have, so this is not the citation, right? So Wikipedia shows you this is the citation, writ petition civil number itna and of 2012. So this is not the citation. This is actually the case number. And this is not exactly the citation. Citation is something which has been reported in a particular case law journal or so. Okay, so we have this citation. This is the citation for KS Puttaswamy. As we know that this is an SCC citation, so we would be finding this particular case law only with if we follow this particular citation, then it is possible to search only in SCC. However, we need to search some other citation. If we do a Google search, we often get some other citations as well. AIR citations, if we get, then we can find it in Manupatra as well. 1 second, let's see AIR citations. Anyway, we have SCC citation to search in SCC. Okay. Do we have an AIR citation? Okay. So it seems that although this is not possible, that Manupatra does not has this case, we can already search. We can of course search this case here as well. K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Okay, so we get this case. This is K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Right. And so in Manupatra, if you know that you need to find a particular case law, see these are the citations which Manupatra basically uses. Manupatra SC 0548 of 2017. So these are the kind of citation which Manupatra uses. Although this is not, this is the citation for K.S. Puttaswamy in Manupatra. So in case you have this particular citation, you find this particular citation in a Google search, you find a document and you found out that this is the citation which is used in that particular article or document. If you have a Manupatra search, because see, why do we need Manupatra or SCC? Because the courts in India prefer SCC and Manupatra, Manupatra derived documents, because they are having some credibility in the legal research arena. So that's why whenever we produce a document in a court of law, we often prefer to derive these documents from these platforms, that is Manupatra and SCC. Here I'll also talk that what to do if we do not have such document. So we know publisher. We have already seen that this is AIR, and since this we know that the K.S. Puttaswamy case was from Supreme Court, so we will just scroll down and see AIR Supreme Court. Enter year. We know that the years we can also copy. So okay, 1 second. Paste. So this is Manupatra 2017 1604. So 2017 is the year. We can put in the year 2017. Okay. Volume number, we do not have any such volume number here. 1604. Let's put in 1604. Let's see what it shows. 1604. Okay. Now search. No documents. Okay. So if this is not the document, then obviously this is 1604 is not the volume number, but the page number. So we'll do this again. AIR Supreme Court. Enter year 2017. Volume number is not there. Page number is 1604. So now most probably we should get this case. No, this is not. So this is not the citation most probably. Okay, that's okay. We will find this in SCC. But however, this was a very easy case. This was a case which was very easily found on search as well. So if we do not get a so that's why we have two portals, that is Manupatra and SCC both. So if you do not find one, it so happens many a times that you do not find all the cases in both the portals. So if you do not find a particular case law with citation in Manupatra, so it is preferable to find it in SCC. And anyway, Manupatra do not has its own journal. It is just a search portal. And journal which Manupatra prefers is AIR. So basically, if you find a AIR citation, then you would of course find it in Manupatra. So this much is clear about Manupatra research. There are Manu search, there is legal search, there's citation search, and there's assisted search. These are the 4 options which are available in Manupatra, and that is how we do it. For narrowing down our results with the keywords, we use Manupatra and assisted search. For having a specific search in which we know the party names and other such details, we use legal search. If we have a citation of a particular case and we want to derive that document from Manupatra, then we use citation search. However, we know that we need to take care of that we do not have a SCC or any other sort of citation. We need to have an AIR citation to search in Manupatra, because Manupatra has a record of AIR citations. Now we will see quickly that what are the options in SCC Online. And SCC Online, as I have personally seen, is the best portal because it is very user friendly and very quick. We'll just log in a second. Okay. So this is how SCC looks. Now SCC offers us few similar options, that is word search. Word search is a keyword search. Case law by section. This is also a very unique kind of search. Then there's citation search, there's party name search, there are other such options. What is a case laws? This is section search. I'll just tell you what is a section search. So if we know that if we let's say want to search something which is limited relevant to, let's say, Trademarks Act, find in table. So basically we put in the statute name. So not trademarks, let's say Indian Contract Act. That would be more relevant to you guys. Contract Act. Indian Contract Act, find in table, Indian Contract Act. Act 1872. So firstly we find the statute name, then we find it in table. Once we click on find it in table, the statute would be opening up, and you can select a particular provision in which you need to find a case law. Now this is the best way to study, because this is something which is used for studying and for knowing more about a particular section, that what are the case laws which have been decided regarding a particular section. Let's say consent. If you want to search that a particular fact which is very unique to your case, would it amount to consent or not? So we can search through this particular option. If we go for Contract Act and we can search consent, if we double click on section 13, then it would open up all the case laws which pertains with section 13 and which talks about section 13 in detail. So we found out that there are certain digest notes, there are certain judgments, there are certain acts. Now, since we are going to concern ourselves with only the judgments, we have found that there are 10 Supreme Court cases which directly talks about the consent part of a contract. So this is how you can you can find a very specific case law by doing a particular section wise search. If we do a section wise case law search, you will find the cases which have been decided on a particular section, and that is how we access in SCC this particular option. This much is understood. We will try one other thing, that is this much is understood, that this is how the case law section search is used. So a similar procedure is there in citation search, which we used in Manupatra. Just show, because case Puttaswamy was available under the SCC, so that's why we would try to search it through SCC. So this is SCC citation, get citation. SCC 1604, 16404. Okay, it seems it was a wrong citation. Let's see. Okay. it seems the citation which we copied was wrong. That's why we are not going to find it. But anyway, you know that if you get a right citation, then you would be finding it under the SCC, because SCC has all the you find the citations basically under SCC or AIR, or there are a host of reporters which are consolidated under the SCC, and you can find any of those reporters here. See, there is AIR, there's ALR, there are many others which are under the SCC citation search. So if we do a citation, so if we have a correct citation of a particular case law, then we can search it through citation search. Okay. The keyword search option is already, I have told you that how keyword search works, and that is based on operators. And the word search option deals with the operator search. We can use all the operators and or near. So these are the operators which are used here. So if we use secured, now this is something peculiar to SCC, that whenever we search in SCC, you need to put in the operators in capitals. So secured and unsecured and crown. So these are the words. So if we also want to near it down, near some other word, that is let's say debt, right? So we want crown near debt. So we can do this. Secured and unsecured and debt near crown. So this is how it looks like. If we search using an operator, this is how your intention must be clear, that we want a document which is comprising of secured as a keyword, unsecured as well, and it should have debt near crown. But how near? Because we had a proximity sensor in Manupatra. So where is the proximity sensor in SCC? Firstly, we'll go and see Boolean near settings. In Boolean near settings, you can select the word limit, that how many words you can narrow it down to. So now we would find the words debt and crown nearing to 5 words. Also, we have to take care that since we are using operators explicitly, we have to select Boolean. If we do not select Boolean, it would not take care of these words, and it would be taken as if you have selected and, near, and all such operators as a keyword, and it would not work as an operator. So in order to make sure that your operator words actually act as an operator, please select Boolean in SCC. This instruction is already written here, but I've already told you, use and, nor, or, and near, all capitals between words for Boolean search. So this is Boolean search. Now we select search and we get an option and we get a result, which most probably would be narrowed down. So this is a narrowed down result, and that is 155. Again, we have this filter that is available for each portal. We have Supreme Court, only 11 cases. We have 90s High Court cases. In High Court, if we want Delhi High Court, we have only three High Court cases. So this is how we refine our search in SCC and Manupatra. So this much is clear. One more thing, that is, let's say I'll find one case very quickly. I'll try to print it out, because this we need to understand that when we are going to take out some cases. See, I've already told you that when you appear before a court, you have to take the judgments in your hands, and when you take judgments, you have to make sure that you must know that what kind of printout you need to take out, because this is important, because we often do not understand that courts have some preferences, and if we do not understand that what are the preferences, we may lag behind and your case might not be entertained. Your particular document might not be entertained at that particular time. So there are these options. Under these options, there is this print option. So we cannot print any document anyway and just take it to the court. No. in order to make it admissible before the court and for the court to take a favorable view of us, we have to take the true print option. So this is the true print option. True print option is very important in SCC. There is no such true print option in Manupatra, but SCC, SCC is having this unique option, and that is very useful for us, because when we appear before a court and we need to present a particular case law before the court, then that has to be in the true print. Okay, so I'll just show you that what is the difference. This is a normal print and this is a true print. When we do a normal print, what happens? Let's see. So basically what happens is, not in a normal print, a normal PDF document would be downloaded in your device. But this does not stand in the court, because courts are very reluctant to take the PDF documents, because you may alter it, you may do anything with it. So that is not very credible as far as the court is concerned. So that is why courts rely on true print. And how is a true print different from a PDF print? Let's see. If we select print, we'll just see that how this is the PDF version, which is already available and visible to us. And if we would have taken a PDF print, then it would have looked like this only. But if we take a true print, this is how a true print looks like. So that is totally different from that PDF. So what is the difference basically? This true print is actually the Supreme Court cases journal, for the journal's scanned copy. And whenever there is a true print available in SCC, it means that there would be available a SCC journals true print, and which would be scanned copy of that particular case law. And that is why this is more reliable and the courts prefer this. So whenever we present a case law before a court of law, then it has to be taken out in a true print. This much is understood? Yeah, hello. Is this much understood?
Yes.
Okay. So we have seen very briefly, and I do not know how much did you understand, but I tried to cover the basic functions which are available in Manupatra and SCC. Now we need to understand that what if you do not have Manupatra and SCC? How do you get a particular case law if you do not have Manupatra and SCC? So, and you need to present it before the court, obviously. So in that case, we'll just take case Puttaswamy only. Let's see. Right. So if we have this case law, we have already seen that there are many documents which are available. Let's see in Indian Qanun. So we have seen this Indian Qanun version available. Why do we not prefer Indian Qanun being presented in the court of law? Because Indian Qanun often has this problem that many keywords are misplaced. There's very distorted kind of a document, and we cannot just present it before the court of law. That's why the court of law prefers the credible sources like SCC, true prints, and the basic document which often is presented is a certified copy of a particular document, which is available by the courts only. If we go in a court, there's a window which provides certified copies, and certified copies is the most reliable thing, because it is the court only that offers that. And the second option is, and the most preferable option is, the SCC true print. But what if you do not have these options available with you at that particular moment? Then we can do this, that if you have that particular case law, you have found out that your proposition is available in this particular case law, you will get to see that this is the this is the title, or this is the case number which is available to you. That is 494 of 2012, and that is a writ petition, and that is in civil jurisdiction. But we also know that this has been filed before the Supreme Court of India. So similarly, when you have these informations, you can visit that particular site, Supreme Court of India. So we'll see Supreme Court of India. We'll just visit Supreme Court of India website. It might be true for any other high court as well. If we find a judgment which is from Allahabad High Court, let's say, then we will visit Allahabad High Court judgments, Allahabad High Court website. So we would simply visit that particular forum's website. Okay, the first step. Now, once we visit that particular forum's website, what are the options which are available to us? How do we access that particular document? Now we will have to go for case status or judgments. If we want to know the case status of that particular case, then we will go for case status. If we want to have a judgment of that particular case, then we will go for judgments. So click on judgments. Now this is the option. Now this judgment option is available for each and every forum, regardless of its nature, regardless of what cases it deals with. So even if it is in a tribunal, it has this option of judgments. So now go for judgments. The name might be something different. It might be under the case status as well. It might be under case download. The nomenclature may be different, but this is an option which you have in every forum. You visit the forum's website, you go for searching that particular case law. So we know that this case Puttaswamy is from Supreme Court. So we have visited Supreme Court website and we go for writ to petition civil. Now we know that it was a writ petition and it was in civil jurisdiction. So that's why we select writ to petition civil. Number, this number, what is this number? And this is number is, we have already known that the number is 494, right? So we'll simply put 494. Year, we have known that the year is 2070. So this much is the information you need if we want to take that judgment right from that particular forum itself. You will also need to do some security check, and that is this captcha. We'll just put it. Okay. Now submit. Okay. So we do not have, I do not know that what is wrong with case Puttaswamy, but
the year is 2012.
Okay, 2012. Sorry. Yeah. Year is 2012. It was reported in 2017, but the year of lodging the case was 2012, right? Okay, so we'll put in the right captcha. Let me see this. Okay, now most probably no, we did not find it. Okay, I do not understand what is wrong with the case Puttaswamy. We might find some other judgment. Let's see. IR Coelho. Civil appeal. Anyway, you will find these cases very prominently because these are very famous cases. These cases would be found out even without any subscription. This strategy has to be adopted when we have a very different kind of case law, and in most cases you would find the judgment in this particular portals and the forum portals. And when you go for a judgment search, you would find the judgments there only. Although there's this problem often in many forums that they remove the judgments which are from very previous times. Although 2017 is not something which is very old, and it ought to be there, but it's regretful that it's not there. But this is the process that we apply. Civil appeal 1344. Let's see if we find this 1344 of 1976. I do not think that 1976 case law would be available. Anyway, let's see. 1976. 76. Okay. All right. Fill in the captcha. Okay. So hopefully that was the problem. Basically, we did not get the right citation from for a case Puttaswamy. But anyway, if we have the right citation, we will most probably find it in the right forum. If we have the forum, if we have the case number, if we have the year number in which that case was instituted, we would most probably find it in that particular forum. So this is how we found out IR Coelho, although this was a very old judgment, but we found out. So generally, this is the case we do. This is how we do it. So let's say this case, we have already seen that this case is 44 and 45. There are two cases which were together. So there are many judgments on these, but on this particular line. So there is 207 judgment, there is 2007 judgment, and there is 1999 judgment. Now let's say we want 2007 judgment. So this is how we access the true copy from that particular forum itself. So we had two options. If we have the premium subscription, we go for the SCC, or we go for Manupatra, because Manupatra and SCC are some credible sources. Although the best source you have is SCC, and that too a true print of it. But if we do not have any of these, we will simply go for a Google search. We will try to search through the articles. We often find some articles, right? We often we find some articles in which the relevant judgment is cited somewhere. And if we get to know, see, once you get to know the title of the case, all of these details are very easy to know, that which forum this particular case was instituted and in, and which was the nature of the case, and what is the number of the case. These details are very easy to know. Once we know the title, we search for these details, we get these details, and we go to that particular forum, and we download the judgment through this particular procedure. And once we have this particular judgment, now this judgment can be taken into the court. I will just stop sharing. Okay. Now this was the strategy we adopt when we do not have a premium subscription. And that is very important to know, that because people often struggle that when they do not know that what to do, because people think that they're handicapped if they do not have any kind of subscription, but that is not true. And that is what I have shown you right now. So this much was the thing which I wanted to share. Please ask your questions, and please ask anything which was not very clear to you. Hello.